little behind. We're going to go ahead now and call this meeting to order. Will you please rise and join me in a pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, no action was taken in closed session. Just to recognize, present are trustees Hamilton Starks and trustees Barnes and trustee Deleuze. Let the record show no action was taken in closed session. And at this point, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move on to public comment. Members of the public may address the Board of Trustees regarding any agenda item during board consideration of that item. Please note that if you wish to address the Board of Trustees on an agenda item, you should do so when that specific item is called for by the board president. In order to speak, you need to submit a comment in person. Please complete the public comment card so that please fill out the public comment card. You can provide your feedback also online via Assembly Gamut and live chat via YouTube. Comments online will be read by the board assistant, and all remarks are limited to the duration of 2 minutes. At this time, this is an opportunity for members to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda. If you'd like to address the board, please understand that by law and board policy, we cannot address that item this evening because it has not been agendized, but do know that we are listening, and if need be, we will forward staff to take action at a later date. In any case, is there anyone who would like to address the board on an item that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, we've got Mr. Douglas Nelson.
Good evening. My name is Douglas Nelson. Been a taxpayer in the Robla district for 37 years. Support the district wholly. And what brings me here tonight is that we have a construction site that is ongoing in my neighborhood in our district. It's the school site in question is Taylor Street School. The contractor is not complying with the watershed construction regulations that's required by law, and they are taking raw materials to the site that Robla School is. I learned today that Robla School owns the property on Norwood between Berthoud and the middle school. And the middle school over at Twin Rivers, they got a grant a few years back to put a pathway and a walkway to the school from Berthoud because the sidewalks ends at the property that Robla owns, and then it starts again at Grace Avenue. Robla School District does no landscaping, no kind of groundskeeping on that property whatsoever in the winter months or the summer months. There's trees grown over, and it's a danger to walk on the pathway. I was there a couple of hours ago, and someone got poked in the head by it. I took videos of it. I was taking photos of it. The grass is over 2 feet tall. And on my way to work this morning, the reason I stopped and I'm fed up with it is because the construction crew from Taylor Street was sticking out in the road. I have pictures of the dirt and the area that he's dumping. It's so muddy on that site that they now have mud in the encroachment of the storm drain, and we're supposed to get rain on Saturday and Sunday. And if you look at and I could provide it to you, and thank you for taking my call today. It was a very cordial, and thank you for taking the call, because I think this is where we got to get a ball rolling for the safety for the pathway that Robla School District is responsible to clean up. So it's a blight in the neighborhood, and then we have to figure out how we're going to stop the dumping, because every time there's a construction site, there's earth being moved in, and they're not meeting the construction watershed and the stormwater drain regulations. There's a 3-page deal, and I'll provide it to Roman. and you guys could read it and vet through it. But I think it's very important that we get into compliance for one, and then we do not block the pathway, so the district isn't liable for a lawsuit because we're sue happy in the state anymore for that pathway. So I invite everybody out to go out and take a look. I've sent him photos, and I'll be sending him some more, and you guys can share the photos that I've sent. So I just appreciate you taking the call, and I'll be back next month or in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda? Do we have any comments online? Okay, then.
Just take like 30 seconds to respond to that question.
Yes.
So we appreciate, I just want to let you know that your comment was acknowledged, and Mr. Fajardo sent it to me right away. So I communicate to the construction person who is working at Taylor, and I say to fix the issue. A notable property, the grass grows really tall in grass, but we maintain it. It's required by law. It's twice a year. We actually hired a tractor to clean, but right now with the water and the rain, it looks, but we do, probably it's not enough because then we also do some cleanup a lot, actually because of the homeless. So it's quite a few work that we do to maintain the property. So I just wanna acknowledge we don't, but we do use it for taking there, and the contractor was notified to be careful to pay attention. So thank you for letting us know.
He cleaned it up. Like the Taylor Street School, he cleaned it up immediately, and it's immaculate right now.
Okay, I just want.
Taylor Street School,
Okay.
he put over the curb, it's immaculate.
Okay,
So
thank you.
We just, we got to work on the other side for the liability part.
Yeah.
The blight in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You own the property, you got to clean it up.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. There's none of that.
Thank you for that. Okay, we're going to move on to reports. I want to start with the Robla Education Foundation.
Good evening, and I'll do it from here because my length of my report is shorter than the walk to the front of the mic. I have nothing new to report tonight due to the fact I looked at the agenda. I don't want to be here that late. So.
Nothing new to report. Robla Teachers Association. CSEA. Superintendent's report.
Excuse me. Good evening. I just want to share just a few things. I know I haven't been here for a month, but I just wanted to share just 3 things. Today we had terrific 10, or I'm going to say terrific 8, because the individuals who came to, the students who came to the dinner, excuse me, the lunch, was our Black History Month essay contest winners. So it was the first time that all the students were 3rd through 6th grade, right? Because the contest is that grade level. But they were a wonderful group. We had a wonderful lunch. They gave us great feedback regarding the requirement for the essay. For the essay this year, they had to interview individuals, right? So that was a great experience. They think that it should be the same format for next year, but we need to help the students find individuals who they could interview. But they thought the process was really good. I applaud them because I know it's very scary to interview individuals, but it was nice. It was just nice today. Last night I stopped by Main Avenue for their family bingo night. It was the first time that they did it this year. They did a survey, and that was one of the top events. Great turnout, wonderful prizes that they had donated, so it was great, popcorn, and there may be a video or a picture out there of me and Miss Newhouse doing the chicken dance during a stretch break. There might be, so just forewarn. And then 2 weeks ago, we had our parent empowerment dinner, another wonderful event. I have to applaud our food and nutrition services department because we had a bigger turnout than expected, so they had to just adjust on the fly, but great student performances. I think we would kind of take a look at an agenda and give them a little bit more time. Great spoken word and a great keynote speaker. We had Dr. Luke Wood, president of Sacramento State. Thank you.
Okay, on to board member reports. Trustee Hamilton starts.
I also got a chance to go to the parent empowerment dinner, and I thought it was so good. The kids were awesome. The dances, the speeches, everything was really good. So I was very happy to be there.
Trustee Barnes?
Unfortunately, I missed the parent empowerment dinner due to illness. I'm glad to hear that it went well. I don't have much more to report other than you know this last month has been kind of a difficult month. Just overall for the I think the whole country has been difficult in one way or another. And I say that it's a rough moment, but it makes me appreciate Robla all the more. I've heard some just across the country really tough news about education, about children, about all kinds of things. And I look at that, and the first question I ask is it possible that that's going to happen in Robla? And for the most part, I get a sense that a lot of the stuff that I see and hear about, I know will not happen in Robla. And so I just want to say thank you to our staff, to all of our people, because I mean, we're all people up here. We see the news, we hear everything, and yeah, it impacts us. And so, thank you to all of our staff for making Robla what it is, and for protecting our kids and putting them first and everything. So, thank you.
I did also had an opportunity to attend the parent empowerment dinner. Want to say, not only was it very well attended, but it was probably the most well attended event that we've had, and that's saying a lot because we've had a lot of really really good events. Just the Latino empowerment dinner was huge as well, and this outdid that. Anyway, I was very very happy. I want to thank all of our staff. They did a phenomenal job. I want to thank the Roberts Family Development Center for getting us a phenomenal speaker. I've known Dr. Wood since he was in college, him and his brother, two dynamic young men. I can say young because they're younger than me. But for those of you who do not know Dr. Wood, getting him to come speak here was a real get. It really was. And anyway, just wanted to say thank you to everybody. It was like I said, it was a phenomenal event. Once again, very well attended. And that's the end of my report. We'll now move on to presentations and information. And we'll start with Expanded Learning Program Update, Helen Institute 2024-25.
Thank you. That was an agenda item that I asked to add to the agenda for this week. I first just want to, again, take a moment to acknowledge and thank the dedicated teachers and staff who have shared their concerns with me regarding the Helen After School program. I deeply appreciate your willingness to speak up, not just for yourselves, but for the well-being of our students and their families. Over the past several weeks, I've heard repeated concerns regarding the Helen After School program, and I recognize that I'm receiving this information secondhand or even in some cases thirdhand. But I want to make it clear that I fully respect and trust our teachers and our staff. And so when concerns arise, I also trust that our superintendent and her staff will properly investigate and act accordingly. I just, again, want to just confirm that you all have been heard, and I do apologize that I don't have the ability to do more, but I do value and appreciate all of you and all of your voices. Thank you.
Okay, we have one person who wanted to speak on this item, Joshua Weeks.
Is this one of those I only have 2 minutes to do my case or speak my presentation? Okay, before the 2 minutes starts, can I first just state that Ms. Chen, thank you so much for making it, you talked to me at length. Can you guys hear me okay? You talked to me at length about the situation, and you did make it feel like I was heard. And Ms. Hamilton Starks, I can't tell you how monumentally grateful I am for you, because out of every board meeting, you have been one of the only ones that have said, can we address the Helen program? So it's frustrating that at first when it said we would address this, it was like a forethought. No one wanted to bring it up, but you constantly did, and that made me feel heard. So I greatly appreciate you listening to me and the other teachers as well. So I guess the time can start now. I wasn't going to talk tonight. I was not. I was done. This has been a very stressful situation for me, and all I want is the best for our students. The only reason I talk at these events right now is because I felt things weren't right for our students, and I was done. I just wanted to come up tonight and just thank the both of you. But now I've been texted at 1 o'clock in the morning a cease and desist letter. So I'm going to read it and provide you guys with copies as well. It states that, Dear Mr. Weeks, it has come to my attention that you have been, by the way, this is by Mr. Ronald Hickey. It has come to my attention that you are making statements about me and my organization, including my employees, the Helen Institute, that are both false and misleading. I contend your statements are made with negligence and through malice. These statements constitute as slander, since this defames my reputation and the reputation of the Helen Institute. I demand that you immediately cease and desist making these false, misleading, slander statements, which include but are not limited to. So I'm going to give you guys a copy of this, and in bold, I'm going to have my retort against it. He says, Helen staff members have personal relationship with members of Robla School District Board trustees that can influence the board's decisions. It comes from me saying, I was told there were board members that, Helen said there are board members that they had working for them or in regards to working with them. Now, this was said by, and I won't read because I am trying to be non-malicious. I am trying to be as respectful as possible. But this was said by someone close to the Helen staff members. This person was reprimanded, even moved from my school site from saying such thing. So this is factual. This isn't just a blank statement. Robla School District students in Helen after-school program vandalize every classroom program that has they have utilized. Vandalizing public school facilities is a crime by California Penal Code. Therefore, your statement is false. I never said it's every classroom. I, in quote, said classrooms are being vandalized. Classrooms being plural, more than one, and the word vandalize meaning a willful or malicious destruction or defacement of public or private property. That's Webster's definition. I think Webster's is reputable, so I'm going to use Webster's, and which I have seen and I can attest and has been documented. Multiple cases of things being destroyed in the classroom from in one school, a paper towel dispenser, and in another school, their items. Helen staff has constantly used their cell phones. I have attached a picture of a staff member using their cell phone. He states that they supervise their students, but this month alone, the Helen staff has been late to our campus over 8 times, up to 40 minutes. We get out at 2:23. Someone hasn't shown up to 3 o'clock. So it's either up to start to watch our students or staff members from Bell to watch their students, not Helen staff to watch our students, because we want to make sure that they are safe, that they are not being lost. There was an incident where we couldn't find a student, so they were sending other students to find them. That is a big concern for me. I hear it ringing. I'm sorry. I'm going to take another minute. Helen does not provide tutoring for students. Mr. Hickey himself stated his staff does not have what is needed to provide tutoring for our students. Helen does not provide the 30 hours of training. Helen, ex-Helen employees, I have it in written statement, and I can do audio as well, that ex-employees that were terminated after a lengthy period of being with Helen have not another 30 hours. Helen does not conduct legal background checks. I stated this because of the knowledge known from another ex-employee that was then shared to me by the knowledge of that employee. Last but not least, he states that I said they prey upon a student, and I said Helen employees have been investigated for accusations of students feeling unsafe. This is things written by students. An employee was let go for coaxing students to get into fights. This is not me just making up false claims. These are statements. These are, you can look it up. You can find evidence for it. There are the staff members themselves know about this. Students have been cussed at and had foul language sent to them. This, once again, I'm not making it up. You can check with administrators. Students have been called gay and put down by people that are still working for our staff, and they were reprimanded. I'm not making this up. This is not a lie. So it is frustrating to me that Mr. Hickey says, and I quote, please be advised that unless you immediately cease and desist making these slanderous statements, I have no choice but to take appropriate legal steps to protect my reputation, including seeking relief in the court law for monetary damages. Witness my signature. I don't know why it says the 28th of February. I don't count this as a cease and desist, you guys. This is a text sent to me at 1 in the morning. I count it as a threat, and I count it as harassment. When I told you, and I said that people feel that they can't state certain things because there will be retaliation. This is what I feel, because I'm not the only one who's gotten things like this. Multiple people, multiple staff members at our district, multiple staff members at other sites have received things like this. But I'm not afraid. I am going to tell you right now, I have no malice. I have zero malice for the program. I just want what's best for our students. I'm sorry for going over my time. I appreciate you guys very much, but I am frustrated. I am stressed, and I do not, and I'm trying to say it so it's on record, I don't want any contact with this person anymore because I don't feel right about it. If he wants to talk, he can talk through you guys or the board or Jen, but all I want is what's best for our kids. That's it. No malice. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and stated, and I'm going to give you guys a copy. That way you guys have a copy of, because I want to make sure every bit of evidence is reported.
If you don't mind me asking, just real quick, so there were a number of things that you stated that you had. Had any of that been shared with or sent to school site staff, vice principal there, or the principal there on campus?
So I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Luce. I'm trying to be respectful for everybody. Okay, I have sent this out to people on the board. Okay, months in advance from last year of incidents that have been happening. Months. Okay, I've tried to do things anonymously. Because I'm not someone who wants conflict. I've been trying to do every step in the way, just pleading and asking, please investigate, please check. So I've talked to Helen staff members, I have talked to administrators, I've talked to superintendent, and now I've talked to the board by 4 times now. So I've done every due diligence. I have made sure I've done texts, emails, and I don't want to record anyone without their permission. So the only person I have recorded as ex-employees with their permission. I don't want to be taking screenshots or snapshots of people on their phone or sleeping on the job. But if I need to show evidence, I certainly can. I'm just trying to be as respectful as possible. I don't want to throw any dirt on anyone's face. I do have the evidence. So if Mr. Hickey would like to sue me, I do have the evidence that I am more than happy to put forward, but I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to leave everyone's name out of it. But yes, I have sent texts, I have sent emails, I have photo evidence. But once again, I am trying to be respectful. I'm trying to do this without malice. I'm passionate right now because I care about our students, and I'm trying to let that be like a broken record. That's all I want. That's all I want. And that's why I'm trying to do everything best I can above board, and I'm trying to follow all the rules that I can. So if I'm doing something out of place, please let me know. I'm going to file an official complaint just so I can make sure I'm taking the right steps all the way through. And I have an open door policy. If you would like to talk to me about any of this, my door is always open. I have nothing to hide. So that's if that answers that statement.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
If I could just make a comment. Thank you, Mr. Weeks. You know, you and I, excuse me, you and I have spoken, you know. I do want to follow up with this, and I really want to make it public, right? I have an open door policy. I know if I ask Mr. Weeks if you believe I have an open door policy, I think you're nodding in agreement, right? I do have an open door policy. We do have processes. So, you know, I will say that the concerns that were brought up, there is a process for me to investigate, right? And so if that process is not clear, right, then I would like someone to let me know so I can clarify, right? We have a process, and I appreciate if there's a concern that it's brought to the site administrator, and the site administrator may deal with it, right, and not inform me because it's been handled, or it might be taken to my level, you know. But I do have a concern, you know, that anyone who feels that they come to me that there's retaliation, right? That I'm still trying to process because I'm not sure how I could retaliate. Now, I understand your concern regarding Mr. Hickey, but I don't know how the perception that I would retaliate. And so that would prevent anyone from coming to me directly, you know. So I will reach out to you again, you know, and if you choose not to, but I think, you know, you and I, you know, have a great relationship, you know, but I do want to just put it on record. I do have an open door policy, you know, and I encourage you to reach out. You know, I will say that if you are not reaching out to your administrator, you know, one of the things I will say is, have you brought this to attention to your administrator? But I will still hear you out, you know, so, and that is, that is my goal. Our students are our priority, right? And it's important that I do hear these concerns. It's a challenge. I will say it's a challenge when names, when a concern is brought up and you want to keep the privacy or anonymity. I think that's the word, right? But I need the information, to really fully investigate, because when I, hear a concern, right, I am going to go to that person and say, hey, let's talk about this. What did you observe? What was the process? And if you say that you spoke to an administrator, I'm going to go to that administrator. Okay, what was the concern? What was the investigation? What was the result? Do we need to take it to the next level? So, I am for a process, and I want to reiterate, I have an open door policy. I would be happy to speak to anyone for any concerns, and I do appreciate that you speak on behalf of individuals, but it would be advantageous if I hear it firsthand as well, so I can also investigate specifics, just like your specific other emails. So thank you, and I will reach out to you again.
Of course. And Ms. Chen does mean it that she does have that open doors policy. You guys, she spent like the gates were about to be locked, and she spent like almost 5 hours being able to make sure that I felt heard and I felt supported. So she really does mean that. So for anyone's watching, she means what she says. So that's why I appreciate both of you very much. So thank you guys for your time.
One of the things that I wanted to say was, and I think Superintendent Chen just did a very good job of kind of talking about the importance of process. I use the example of, if someone stole my car and I didn't do anything, then they stole my other car, and then they stole my motorcycle, and then I went to the city council and complained, and then me expecting the city council to then go and arrest the person who stole all 3 of my vehicles. That's not the city council's job. And our job as a board is we set forth the policies and we approve the procedures by which issues like this are to be dealt with. And we hold our staff, specifically our superintendent, accountable for making sure that these things are addressed. When someone comes to me with a concern, comes directly to me with a concern, the first thing that I let them know is whatever they share with me, I'm going to pass along to my superintendent. But I'm also going to know, did you avail yourself of the process? Did you talk to the site administrator who's over this? Did you go through that process? If they didn't address it, did you go to the principal? Or then did you go to the superintendent? Because ultimately, our job is not to micromanage. Our job is to set the policy. And when the policy is not working, once again, hold staff accountable for when that policy is not working. What concerns me about how we're dealing with this is that these are some serious things that we're hearing. And I went through my email, and I don't have any email. I didn't heard about any of this. I understand that the superintendent may or may not have gotten a lot of this information. Oftentimes, when we're the first ones to hear about it, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pass that information on. And we do want to make sure that it is addressed. But part of that is we need people who are in our community to help us with that, right? To help us by providing that information, letting us know those details so that we can address it. Because ultimately we're responsible for the process. And I know that sounds like a cop-out. But ultimately what happens is that I don't want people to make it as a regular thing there's a problem going on at their school site. There's a problem going on. And the first thing that they do is come to the board. And, God bless our staff. You don't do that. We have not, as a general rule, done that. I just want to make sure that we don't start making a precedent with this. And just so you know, we are as concerned about what we're hearing. I will tell you, it hurts my soul to hear things like this are happening or that they might be happening. I want to make sure that we're doing whatever it is that we can to address it. And to those of you out there, how you can address it is go to your site. Go to your site administrators. Go to them. Let them know. Provide them with the details. And if they don't follow up with it, if they don't follow up on it, go to the next level. Come to us. We'll go to the superintendent, and we'll make sure that it is investigated and that it's looked into. but we need you to help us, because that's our job, is to focus on that process. Yeah, Mr. Weeks.
So once again, I'm not trying to put anything, but I feel very upset when you say that you had I feel very upset that this was not known for any of these incidences moving forward, because I know for a fact that emails that people that weren't felt safe were sent anonymous emails to get support. I know for a fact that I put things myself forward, talking to administrators, letting things know. And I know for a fact that I've gone through the due process. And when I asked for help, I was told we would look into it. And I've heard crickets for 6 months. Sometimes it's frustrating that it seems that we act like if there's no news, it's good news. But if I have a student quiet in my classroom, I don't just expect, oh, they're doing great. I'm going to check in on them. But I would ask you, how many times have you guys come to see what Helen is doing in the classrooms? How many times have you investigated and talked to students, seen their work of what they're doing in the classroom? So when you guys say you're doing your due diligence, it's upsetting that I can show you records of what students are writing. It's not something when we get surprised, oh my gosh, our students are struggling in this and struggling in that. If you see their documents, it wouldn't be a surprise. So it's frustrating that when you say something like that, you are saying that you are going to do your due diligence for our students, but I've already done all these due processes like you've said. And when you've told me, and when you've said that you guys are going to check, only Miss Hamilton Starks, only you were saying, can we talk about Helen? But every time you guys go, does the board have anything to say? Nothing. So it's frustrating when you say something like that, and there was only one person that I felt had our back. Only one. Ms. Chen, I thank you for listening, but also I constantly had to go to you. It feels like I'm a broken record and I'm saying the only thing, but you guys can look online. You can talk to our teachers. I have teachers that will say something. I just say, I will come forth. Come to our site. There are plenty of teachers that will talk to you. There are plenty of staff members that will talk to you. But we all have families. It's hard to get out here, especially at 7 o'clock on a school night. But there are people that are online that do comments. Okay, you can come to our site, you can come to a staff meeting. It is not hard to come out and talk to us. And we can then convey all the information that, once again, I have. Because sometimes it feels like I am the only one saying something, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not. Just come to our site, they'll talk. And the reason why sometimes they feel about the retaliation is because there is a connection with Mr. Hickey in regards to, he feels like he has his hands at a lot of cookie jars, and he constantly sends emails that say things like cease and desist, or there'll be legal actions, or you're disrespecting me. So that's where that part's coming from. And when you say that, actions speak louder than words. I'm trying to show you guys my actions. But if you're going to say that, please come to our site, investigate Helen, say what you're going to do. And I'm just asking nicely. Sorry if I felt a little passionate about that. When I do that, my voice raises a little bit. I apologize, but
we appreciate your passion. Trust me.
Passionate.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
And I want to be clear, I'm not, I just want to be clear that the interpretation is, did I not get any concerns? Because, that is not that's not an accurate statement. Have I got, have I received concerns from administrators for certain situations? There's a process. When they tell me, I forward the concern to Mr. Hickey, CCing the administrator, and we follow up. And if it is cured or fixed, a better word I can think of, right? Then I'm assuming if the site is had a concern with the resolution, then I would hear that again. So I want to be transparent. This is not, the concerns last year were very multiple, right? I will say the concerns this year are not the same as last year, right? Because we put things in place based on the concerns. But I just don't want to, I want to say on record that there were concerns that were brought to me. It is not the same as it was last year, right? And so, and I want to be, I want to say that I do investigate, right? I think, we'd have to review the process in terms of the results of the investigation. So, how it is shared, So, I want to say I did investigate, or the concerns that are brought up are investigated, right? So I hear your concern that silence because you haven't received a report of my investigation, right, or the results of my investigation, I could see the perception that you feel that nothing was done, so I might have to review my process in terms of, reporting out while also following proper guidelines, so.
Again, I just want to say that my passion is just as high as yours, and I have let my board members know my concerns as well, and I'm speaking up as best as I can, as best as I'm allowed to. But I definitely appreciate you, and I appreciate all your colleagues. I appreciate all the teachers and the staff who have felt comfortable with sharing, and I hope that you all continue to do that because your voices do matter and they are important to me.
And I want to say something, and I'm trying to figure the best way of saying it. You know, when we don't say out here in public, when we don't say something out here in public, it doesn't mean that we're not taking anything seriously or addressing the issues. We do. We hear, we ask questions. Oftentimes, that's the reason why our board meetings start late. We're asking questions. And no, we don't, not everyone reports publicly. Not my strength. I'm measured. But every complaint that we hear, we ask questions about, detailed questions. And sometimes they're tough conversations, and they go on for a very long time. So I hear exactly what you're saying. Just want to make sure that you know that just because we're not saying anything up here and we're talking about processes, it doesn't mean that we're not doing anything.
I very much appreciate you sharing that. And, maybe that is one of the things, as was stated, we do need to do a better job of making sure that people who bring concerns, that we let them know that there was a resolution. Because like was said, things that happened last year may or may not be happening, may or may not continue this year, but we don't take any concerns brought to us lightly. And I think that those who work directly with the board will tell you we do not take any concerns lightly. In particular, we did not take these lightly. We've had many conversations, many long conversations about it. So I don't want you to think that just because one board member talked to you about it doesn't mean that it's not. It doesn't mean that all of us have not been concerned or working to help address it. Oh, okay. So we do have comments online.
Okay, so we do have a few. So, Anonymous said, we were told from our board members that there would be an investigation regarding Helen Institute. What are the steps that the other members of the board are taking to address the concern of teachers and staff members at our school? Kelsey Burke, I've witnessed this behavior firsthand when Helen was meeting in my classroom. Megan Lewis, thank you, Mr. Weeks, for continuing to speak up what is best for our students. She also mentioned, I have also personally witnessed this behavior firsthand in my classroom when Helen was in my classroom. Corey Darlington said, when staff can't feel safe communicating with the board without getting legal threats, it's extremely concerning. Josh has tried to work within the district. A text to his personal phone at 1 a.m. is highly unprofessional. Anonymous continued with, can we get a timeline and clarity in this board meeting for everyone to understand what the process of investigation looks like? Megan Lewis mentioned staff also can't feel safe or supported when items were destroyed in her classroom, promised to be replaced and still not replaced months later. Corey Darlington, I'm glad Mrs. Chen says students are the priority. I hope action will be taken and we can feel safer. Anonymous, can you explain how this is your first time hearing about it when Mr. Weeks just stated that he went to the board members with his concerns? And finally, Corey Darlington, will there be a parent-staff survey asking about how Helen is measuring up? It may shed more light on the program. End of comments.
Well, just addressing one of the things that noted was, I didn't say it was my first time hearing about it. I'm saying that as it was addressed, there have been additional things that have been brought up that had not been brought to our attention, or that issues in the past had not been either have or have not been addressed. The point is that once again, there is a process, and if you don't go to your site administrator, if you don't avail yourself of that process, it makes it difficult when the board is the first is the first to hear about a particular issue or a challenge. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the superintendent and we're going to say, hey, this came forward as an issue. We're going to ask them to look into it. And I'm going to pass along whatever information I get.
Yeah, and I also I want to make sure that I acknowledge that the people who I did speak to were clear that they did follow the proper procedures. So I also don't want to make it seem as if the folks who contacted me or reached out to me did not follow policy, because that was my first question to them, is if they contacted their administrator. And I just want to affirm that they did, and I don't want there to be any miscommunication that they did not do that.
And if I could just respond to one of the comments, just to share that we did student empathy interviews similar to what we did a vendor of ours, and then part of the next step is to do a parent survey interview for all our vendors. So I want to be clear, we're just not there yet. We just completed our student empathy interviews.
I think one thing that I think for me that's come of this is, we don't have many of these serious issues. We haven't had a whole lot of them. This probably, as far as I can remember, is probably one of the first times we've had to deal with a challenge like this. I really do believe that we do need to take a look at how do we handle these processes. What is the process? And in particular, what is the communication process in terms of the outcomes, or how we eventually wind up dealing with these situations, so that those who bring forth the concerns can, number one, feel safe to do so. Number two, can know exactly what that process is, how to avail themselves of it. And then also, that they are communicated with as to the result or the resolution of whatever their concern is. I think that's something we probably need to look at.
Yes, that's part of the ELOP handbook
There you go.
that we are working on.
Yes, I have more comments. All right, last comment from Anonymous. So if everyone follows the right procedures and addresses concerns with the site admin and the board, and still we are talking about procedure, then how are we building confidence in the board's ability?
Well,
Very good question.
obviously, we've got some work to do. I'll just admit that.
Yeah.
Any additional comments?
Again, thank you to all our teachers.
To all of our teachers, to everyone who commented, thank you very much. Always feel that you can reach out to us and communicate with us. If you have a concern, once again, know that we're going to take it to we're going to take that concern to the superintendent and work to make sure that it's addressed. Feel free to not just communicate with us, but also feel free to follow up with us. That's what we're here for. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item B, expanded learning consideration right at school program, 25-26.
On the hot seat, you ready?
And before you start, I want to make it clear that as I bring potential partners, right, for our after school, for our district, right, the intent is not to eliminate one. I know there was a perception that I'm trying to eliminate one. That is not the intent. The intent is to offer opportunities and access for our students, right? Because there is not one program that will meet all the needs of our families. So it's my responsibility, right, to offer and provide access to meet the needs of our families. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for allowing me to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. It's nice to see some familiar faces. My name is Cindy Lawson. I am the Vice President of School Partnerships with Right at School. I have the privilege of working with school communities and superintendents and boards across the country, but primarily the western part of the United States. But I live right down the road, so this was a nice, easy drive for me, and it feels nice to be local. And so thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Right at School and who we are. I figure first and foremost, let's see if I can work this. If this works. Oh, it did. Sorry. Okay. It's really important that we talk about our mission because we live and breathe our mission and values. And as you can see on the screen, our mission is to inspire love of learning, support schools, and give parents peace of mind. To give you a little background about Right at School, our CEO founder, our actually founder now, he just sits on our board now, Dr. Mark Rothschild, walked into his own daughter's after school program, saw her eating Doritos and watching a video, and having a doctorate in education, he just knew he could do something better. And when he did the math, he realized that kids in after school programs actually are in these out of time programs just as many hours as they are in school. So they spend about 20% of their waking hours in elementary school. These are elementary school students, and about 20% of their time in out of school time programs. When you add up the amount of time they're in before school, after school, winter break, spring break, summer, early release, late start, he realized that we had a prime opportunity. We had an opportunity to make a transformative impact in the lives of children. And so he didn't want to create an after school program that was just safe, or maybe they did some homework, maybe they did some arts and crafts, but one that went the extra mile, one that provided children the opportunity to feel respected, to feel valued, to feel a sense of the community, and really to feel that sense of belonging. So, and he really wanted them to be able to thrive in a program that was relaxing, but there's also learning going on. So in 2010, he started Right at School, and since then we support kids all across the country and over 1,000 schools and over 165 districts. And you could see here are our California partners. And so we have several local around here. And then I'm going to try and show you, let's see, hopefully it works, a video of the day in the life of Right at School. I don't know if I can push play on here, if it works. Does that work? Hey, hopefully.
High-quality after-school programs are more important than ever, and Right at School does it better than anyone. It really gives students an opportunity to grow and learn and become a part of a community, to strengthen their community.
When I think of Right at School, I think student-centered right away. Every decision that's made, the flexible planning that we experience with them centers around the needs of our students and families.
Having RAS on our campus allows them to follow our same expectations. We use PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention Support, and our acronym is SOAR. So we hear RAS employees using SOAR.
It's apparent to us that there is a lot of expertise that goes into the creation of this curriculum.
One of the things I like most about the Right at School program is the junior educators, where we have the older students serving as tutors and mentors for the younger students.
I am grateful. Turn to your neighbor and tell them something you're grateful for.
The younger students grow through the help that they're getting, and the older students are growing by teaching and also through those mentorship opportunities.
Right at School disguised learning curriculum is pretty genius. It is a way for our students to enjoy, have fun, laugh, physically be engaged in formal learning without ever knowing it.
The kiddos ran up to me and were so excited to tell me about this bridge that they were building. At that time, students didn't know that it was a science lesson, that it was on physics, it was on gravity, it was on motion.
They are doing a animal shelter donation drive and fundraiser where they develop posters, they develop communication, they can do the PA announcements. It helps our students in Right at School know that they can develop a sense of empathy, that they can give back.
The Right at School staff are phenomenal. I have always asked, what are your recruiting secrets?
They have not only recruited from within the community, but even within our own school district. And so they have used some of our current staff members. And so there's a seamless transition for our students.
It is the core mission of Right at School to ensure that their staff has all the state-of-the-art training and that they're up on all the programs that we're using in our school. And that has meant all the difference.
I think one of the great things about Right at School is their structure. It's a very balanced program, and so students are able to have physical movement outside, their social emotional learning. We gave Right at School a very difficult task. We gave them a 6-week runway to get the program started. And and they did it. They were able to tailor the schedule to our needs.
They sat down, worked with us, collaborated, and they were able to develop a plan and a program that worked well for our students, our parents, and our staff.
They know us. They get us. This is truly a partnership. We're not just hiring someone to come in and do something that's canned.
I think what makes Right at School stand out is the fact that they are willing to work with our educators and our principals at our buildings and design experiences after school that help keep kids engaged, but also on track to make sure that they're successful in our classrooms the very next day.
I'm a parent, and I know that when school is over, I want my kids to be safe, happy, and productive. And Right at School provides all of that.
Parents have had nothing but great things to say about the relationships that our students are building with the staff members of Right at School. When you've got happy kids coming home every day, parents want their kids in this program.
The next slide. Let's see, it's not letting me. There we go. So now I get to talk a little bit about my favorite part about our program, which is the impact we're making in our disguised learning approach. Our focus is on building children up. We're here for the long game of education. So just like yourselves, we want to build these attributes that we know as educators will continue to unfold throughout their lives. So we want them to have positive experiences. We want them to feel empowered. We want them to have a positive self-identity. And so you could see right there the impact that we're making every day at Right at School. We know the last, I think I wish, okay, went too far. We know the last thing a child wants to hear at 3 p.m. is like, who wants to learn some more? We're like, no, we've been in school all day. Last thing they want to hear is who wants to learn some more. And we know that after school programs can't look and feel like the school day. It has to look and feel very different. So what we bring is an approach where we incorporate learning, but we do it in a way that we disguise it. So we have hands-on project-based disguise learning where kids can learn, play, and grow. So every day, students get to enjoy fresh new curriculum that's been written by our curriculum experts. We have 2-week thematic units that range from areas like art and science and music and math. And you can see in this slide, students are learning about Roman aqueducts. They're applying their design thinking as they build and test their models that have been built out of recyclables. For us, we really want to ignite that spark and that joy in kids again. We want kids to be kids. We want them to have fun, all while engaging in hands-on project-based disguised learning. The secret sauce being they just think they're having a ton of fun, but what they don't know is there's a ton of learning happening. And that's why we've trademarked disguised learning. So we know every district is unique, and we want to make sure that we can accommodate not only every district, but every school in terms of what their needs are. So once all the children are safe and they're accounted for, we have what's called our town hall. That's really our family time. It's our chance to build community, to talk about celebrations, special events, service projects we might be working on. It's really kind of level set and get the kids excited for what's going on in the afternoon. And then we have what's called right moves. It's 10 minutes to get that excess energy out. They've been in school all day, so we want to get that heart pumping, that blood flowing. And then we go into language. And language is where we're going to incorporate 10 to 15 minutes of either American Sign Language or Spanish in an interactive way that we can build a sense of community and culture. While also advancing our communication skills. So again, it's just really 10 to 15 minutes to kind of build that language development. The younger kids do Spanish, the older kids do American Sign Language. After that, we have this flexible enrichment bot, and there's different things that you could, so this is where we would work with either the principals or the district to figure out what this time looks like. There are some districts that have no homework. They have no homework policies. And so during that time, we would do more of our disguised learning. So we would take that time to do more of our hands-on project-based disguised learning. There's some districts who do have homework and they want the kids to complete their homework. All of our surveys come back from families saying they want safety first and they want kids coming home with their homework completed. And that's really important because they want to enjoy that family time when they got home. We know kids today have so many things going on, and being a single mom of 3, our evenings depended on whether my kids got their homework done or not is what we can do in the afternoon. So sometimes they'll just do their homework and then we have disguised learning. But there's sometimes that we know in schools it's really hard to get those extra minutes in, especially around MTSS. So sometimes they struggle to get that in during the day. So we could partner with the district on whatever you might be using, whether it's iStation, iReady, Air Tutors. And if you provide the platform, they can do that in our program. And so we will be there to help be facilitators with the training from the district, and you still have to provide like the laptops or tablets, but we can provide those minutes during the out of school time. And they're doing that in Fairfield. I think Fairfield Sassoon's doing iReady, Milpitas is doing Air Tutors, and we're just kind of facilitating that for them. And then again, if we have time, we'll do the disguised learning activities. Then we go out for a more vigorous fitness component where we always have a structured or an unstructured time for kids. We don't want anyone to just be sitting around feeling, you know, lonely or by themselves. So we'll always have a group game going on where people can engage. But if kids just want to have some downtime and hang out with their friends and have some autonomy, they can do that as well. By that time, mostly families are picking up. So sometimes we'll have some quiet activities going on. Sometimes kids just want to chill with their friends, read a book. Sometimes we'll have kind of a table out, like a maker station table where they can just self-create and do some of their own things. So again, that's kind of what a day in the life of Right at School looks like. And the good news is we don't just offer after school. We're here 365 days a year. We offer before school, after school, winter break, spring break, summer, early release, late starts, discovery clubs. We do it all. So we are here to be your solution if need be. And we know we are only as good as our people. And so we can't have great programs if we don't have great people. We have full-time recruiters in the state of California who their job 40 hours a week is to recruit, onboard, and bring the best people into our program. We do hire from 3 main sources, 4 sometimes, because in some communities we are coming in and there might be a solution or provider there. So if staff are recommended, those staff would get the first right of refusal. Again, that's not what we're saying is happening in this scenario, but if in that situation, that's the 4th one. The other one is we hire a lot of paraprofessionals and instructional aides. We love hiring these people because they already know the community, they already know the kids, and oftentimes we can offset full-time hours. They work in the school during the day, come work with us in the afternoon, and anyone who works with us gets free childcare. I mean, they get it free anyways through ELOP, but some districts aren't 100% ELOP. And then they get our amazing training that they get to bring back into the school day. Then we hire a lot of individuals who are going into college who we kind of do a grow your own. Sometimes they might live here in Robla. They might be a graduate. They come work with us while they're going to get their credential, whether it's in elementary ed, maybe theater, maybe art, something like. We want these folks in our program because, one, we already know they want to work with kids, and we want to provide that great platform for them to continue to want to work with kids and then maybe come back and work in your district after. And then we hire a lot of retired educators because I'm not sure if you know, but educators never retire for some reason. So they get to turn that hat around and be much more experiential. Yeah, I have some people over here like, yeah, they'll never retire. I can promise you. So they can come work in our program and they get in their career on a high note by working with kids, engaging, and be much more experiential, not so frontal. And then once we hire them, we put them through our training model. That's a combination of both online and in person. And so we do online modulars that they have to pass assessments before they can even go in. But before even that starts, I just want to make sure that, you know, they have to pass an extensive background check. So they have to go through an extensive background check before they can even get hired into our system and go into the training. So we'll do online assessments, and then we do in-person training, ongoing coaching and support. We have local area managers and regional managers who are always there to support, make sure things are going. Now, can I say it's going to be perfect always? No. But what I can promise you is that we are responsive and we will be there every single time that there's any situation to be there. So once we hire the best people, now, oops, went too fast. You know, we know that when a district decides to go with us and parents put their trust in us, we know that it takes a lot of trust and that we have to build it. So our promise is to our students and to our families and to our partners that we will deliver a high quality program. Again, might not always be perfect. In the beginning, it might be a little rough when you don't know the kids yet. You're building routine, you're building culture, you're building community. And so sometimes, there's some bumps along the way, but we will be there. And I think, you have had the opportunity or can have the opportunity to reach out to our other partners to ask about our program. And so that is our promise to you. And the bottom line is we take care of everything. This is all we do for a living. We're not there's great community partners, but we don't try to do 100 things okay. We really focus on trying to do one thing really well, and that's providing before and after school programs for kids TK through 8th grade, primarily K-6. And so that's what we do. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present. And I do have some additional information I can hand to you and some little safety kits that you can take too. So I don't know if you have any questions or how that works, but I am here if you do.
Any questions? What are some of the Sacramento County school districts that you're in?
So we're not in.
Or Placer?
Okay, Placer. We're in Roseville Joint. We're in Dry Creek. We are in, oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Let me go back to the slide. And I should know because they're all in my backyard. But let's go back here. It's not letting me go past. Oh, there we go. All right. So, in terms of Placer County, we do have we're in all of Roseville. We're in all of Dry Creek. You could see we're all around in terms of Fairfield, Vacaville. And then you go into Martinez, and then you have San Ramon, Livermore, Brentwood. So we're around all of this area. We just are not directly in Sacramento County.
Which of those districts do we have a high EL population as well as high free and reduced lunch. What other districts do you have that are similar to ours?
Oh gosh, there's several. We have several in Southern Cal as well that are similar. But Fairfield Sassoon has a high EL and higher or lower income area.
Okay.
Martinez not so. Mount Diablo. All of the Mount Diablo schools that we're in are Title I schools. So we're in 10 schools. They're all Title I, same thing, high EL. I would say another one that has Santa Rita. It's out in Salinas. They're another high EL and all ELOP kids.
Oh, you're also in Center Joint?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. It's my grandbaby's, soon to be I have a grandbaby, but he's not old enough. But that will be his school. He's in Center Joint. I made sure to get it so he would have childcare. Yeah. He's only 3 though. A few more years.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, the question that I was thinking.
Oh. Well, thank you so much. That was actually quite informative.
Thank you. Thank you guys for allowing me. Have a great evening.
Okay, now we're going to move on to item C, professional learning support teachers.
Good evening. I'm Lindsay Clark. I am one of the 4 professional learning support teachers here in Robla, also known as the PLSTs. I'm very lucky to work with such an amazing team, which includes John Byram, Shannon Cannon, and Alicia Whitted. John and Alicia are currently on paternity and maternity leave. They're at home with their little ones. So Shannon and I are holding down the fort as best as we can while they are gone. So with our presentation tonight, we wanted to review some of the support we provide to teachers across the district. So we provide support with unit and lesson planning. This includes diving into the standards, sifting through the different curriculum programs we have here in the district. We also help with lesson structures as well. PLSTs provide demonstration lessons. So this is where we plan a lesson and we go into their classrooms and model a particular strategy, behavior management, technique, or whatever support the teacher is asking for. We also observe teachers when requested and provide specific and constructive feedback. One of our favorite things to do is guided observations. This is where we set up having a teacher observe another teacher at their site or at a site in another site within the district. We provide the coverage for the teacher, and then a PLST also goes, a different PLST will go with them to kind of point out all those like amazing intentional teacher moves that they're seeing. Teachers do so many things without even realizing they do it, so we like kind of point all of the amazing things that they do out. Behavior management is often a large need with our new teachers. We work with teachers to establish management systems and effective classroom routines. Lastly, a large part of what we do is assessments. We know they're so important and closely connected with instruction, but they can be very time consuming, especially one-on-one assessments. So we'll provide coverage for the teacher so that there's not a loss in learning time for the kiddos, and then they can pull their individual students to do their assessments. Teachers that we have supported this year. So far this year, so we're 2/3 through the year, we have worked with 87.5% of classroom teachers. We define classroom teachers as TK through 6th grade and SDC teachers, so teachers that have actual students rostered to them, but we also work with specialists and enrichment teachers when requested. Support can look different for every teacher. It can be weekly, bi-weekly, or as needed throughout the year. There are 22 first and second year classroom teachers this year in the district, and we have worked with 100% of them. Their support is often much more frequent and ongoing. Unique to this year, it is the year of the baby in Robla, myself included. And so we actually had 7 long-term guest teachers who were here ranging from 3 months to 8 months. So we've had some long leaves as well. So these guest teachers often have varying degrees of classroom experience. We provide similar support as we do to new teachers, but we also assist with some of the tasks like report cards and assessments, because it can be very overwhelming if you haven't received training in that. So that's something that we help with. Our primary goal is to maintain their length of service to prevent turnovers, which is best for the kids, and to ease the stress associated with taking over a class. This is the support by grade level. We assign a point PLST at the beginning of the school year to every teacher. So we reach out to every teacher for support, and we do check-ins throughout the year. So these are the teachers who have taken us up on that support. Next, sometimes there's a misconception that we only work with new teachers, but as you can see, we actually work with teachers of all varying experience levels. At the end of every school year, the PLSTs meet to discuss ways to improve and expand the support that we offer to teachers. We're always trying to improve. So tonight we wanted to highlight some of the new things that we did this year. PLSTs attend new teacher orientation every year, so it's like 4 to 5 days that new teachers have at the very beginning of the year, and we lead some of the sessions, but we often find that it's a lot of information at one time when all they're really thinking about is like, how do I set up my classroom and how do I get ready for the first day? So we decided to add this year on-time pop-up PDs. So like we mentioned assessments, but when your mind's not there yet, you're not quite ready for the information. So we did pop-up PDs of different items when that need came up. Throughout the school year, the PLSTs also receive requests for PL sessions. So here are some of the sessions we provided either at staff meetings or during release time for teachers. And there was a couple where they actually received sub coverage so we could run a PL. Another thing we did this year, often teaching can feel like a very isolating endeavor. So we spend most of our time within the 4 walls of our classroom. This year, PLSTs took on a large undertaking with introduction of peer observations across all sites at Robla. Our goal is to encourage collaborative discussions amongst colleagues where effective teaching is at the forefront. So peer observations are a process where teachers are placed into teams of 3 or 4 based on similar grade levels, either the same or close grade levels, and are given the opportunity to observe their colleagues as well as receive feedback after being observed themselves. The observations are done in the same content area at the school site. So this was quite a process that we took on this year. So there were several steps. The PLSTs met with each principal to help facilitate the choice of a content area. We had 2 sites who chose math as their focus and 3 that chose comprehension and phonics. From there, we led goal setting at staff meetings to create common expectations and language amongst the teachers of what they would be looking for in their observations. We gathered weekly schedules from the teachers. Our goal was to make the observations as least disruptive as possible. So if being observed in math, we want to make sure it's during your math time. Sometimes in the past, with walkthroughs and things, they might be asked to switch things around. And anytime you switch up a kiddo schedule, that can always go a certain direction. So we want to make sure that it's most convenient for you. PLSTs create the schedules, we provided the coverage for the teachers, and we facilitated debriefs after each observation. So the teachers got together to discuss what they saw. Next steps for next year. We hope to continue and improve on these peer observations for next year. We have received positive feedback from teachers so far, but we plan on formally eliciting some feedback to help make improvements for next year. We are really excited for the instructional model that's coming to Robla next year, and so this will help hopefully guide these observations next year. And that, we are excited for next year.
Great. Any questions or comments?
Thank you. That was good.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, so sorry.
Can you, what's in the assessments?
What assessments?
What's in the assessments?
It ranges by grade level. So kinder and first grade have a lot of one-on-one assessments. So letter ID, sounds, counting to 100, just a lot of things that they have to do one-on-one with kiddos. And so with kindergartners, it's hard to pull a kiddo to have like that one-on-one time. So we can teach whatever, because we've all been classroom teachers, we can teach whatever they were already planning on doing so that those kiddos don't miss out on any learning time. Upper grades is a little bit different. They do fluency, so the kiddos read to them. They do 2 passages, and so the kiddos read to them for a minute, and we look for commonalities in the errors they're making so we can use that to inform our teaching. So those are the main ones that we cover for. There's also lots of like group assessments, but those are the one-on-one assessments that we cover for.
What's the difference between the beginning of the year and the end of the year assessments?
So a lot of our assessments in Robla actually stay the same throughout, so we can kind of progress monitor to see that they're improving. So like fluency, it may be a different passage, but they do fluencies at the beginning of the year and every trimester. And then the passage they're reading is different, but the process is still the same. So you can see if they're improving as they go. And same with like kinder, we do letter ID all the way through until we know that they know all their letters.
Is it progress monitoring?
To check to make sure that they're making progress. So if, we hope to see, particularly like in kinder, if, we've taught through the letter K, we hope that you've, learned through the letter K, and so we can keep track of that and then do small groups if we notice like a student is missing certain letters or certain sounds. So it kind of just helps with their instruction.
Do you have any results you can discuss?
I mean, I don't know the numbers like off the top of my head, but yes, we do have like graphs and things that the district puts together because those assessments are uploaded to the district. And so we do have graphs and things that we could show you. But that's like from the district level, not the PLSTs.
Lindsay, can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
On that just briefly, that also at the site level, there are site PLCs, professional learning community meetings once a month. So at those site meetings, especially after a cycle of assessment has occurred, and teachers are bringing their data, so they might be asked. Oh, sorry.
So the folks online can hear.
I'm sorry. I thought it was really loud. Okay. So teachers will be asked to bring data. So for instance, in November, it might have been a focus on the math data that we recently did for T1. So every teacher brings their math data to that meeting. They have their own weekly PLCs with their grade level partners, but this gets to be a site-wide focus on a particular curricular area, sets of data so that we can look across grade levels to see how we're doing in a particular area. And sometimes that turns into what's called the MOUs, the Memorandums of Understanding, that some sites have contracted with Sacramento County Office of Ed to do additional professional learning in writing at one school or in phonics at another. And then as Lindsay spoke earlier about the requested professional learning that we've been asked to do at staff meetings or pull out where teachers are relieved from their teaching duties and substitutes are brought in so that they can really focus. That has also been driven by some of that data that we've looked at and found needs to address.
Thank you.
A couple of things. One, the assistance for the long-term teacher support. How'd you come up with that? What made you decide to do that? Just curious.
I mean, well, one, there was a lot this year, and two, we don't want any disruptions for the kiddos, and we also don't want who's on maternity leave worrying about their kiddos while they're gone. And taking over a classroom is a lot, particularly if you've never done it before. It's very overwhelming, and there's a lot of things that are unique to Robla, like how we do our report cards. And often before we were around, you kind of get dropped in and good luck, and we didn't want anyone to feel that way, or that responsibility fell on a teaching partner who has their own report cards that they have to do. And so we wanted to make sure that they felt supported, especially we want them to come back and we want them to be long-term subs again.
Having been a guest teacher in the past and done long-term assignments, I wish this had been available, because usually it's okay, well, I'm out of here for a few months. Good luck. I mean, not like that, but it's definitely, but it's like, but anyway, so I just thought that was really innovative, and I can tell you, I know for a fact that made a difference in their ability to be able to help our kids. So thank you for that. I also noticed a high percentage of our teachers are actually taking advantage of what you provide. When we first came up with the program, we had a kind of a minimum, like, okay, if you're in this particular situation, brand new teacher, or you're in a review year, you're going to work with some. But I just want to say, number one, I know this is probably a lot more work than you guys had imagined with all of these, with everybody doing it. But I just would say hats off to our teachers for taking advantage of an opportunity that is there to learn and to be better for our kids. So thank you to you, and thank you to all of our teachers. Oh, we have one comment.
All right. For online viewers, Donna Radula, I just want to say that in my 25 years of teaching, veteran in the Robla School District, I truly appreciate our PLSTs. Help, guidance when needed, they rock.
Donna Lynn.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, now we're on to D, Food and Nutrition Services Update.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Lee. I am the director of our Food and Nutrition Services program, and then I have Claudia Madrano and Chef Sergio with me tonight, and they're just such an integral part of everything we do, so I just want to recognize them. All right, so this slide is a slide that just around this time last year I presented, just kind of showcasing our focus areas for this year. And I pulled this slide from last year's presentation, and I'm just really happy to report that we have absolutely achieved success in all of these areas. So normalizing batch cooking as a standard practice, that's something that we started a couple years ago. Batch cooking is really just cooking certain foods right before we're ready to serve them. And that really improves the quality and the taste of everything. But it's a risky thing. And our staff are nervous to take that risk because you don't want to be, even 1 minute late. So having that as a standard practice is really great. A lot of these other items, I'm going to go through some photos because last year, Trustee Devine actually, was really anxious to see some photos. So I'm disappointed that she's not here tonight. But I can share some of those photos. And I wish we had more. Anytime you go into a kitchen, there's just a whole cafeteria of students and staff and a lot going on. And I can't tell you how many times we've kind of left saying, man, I wish I would have gotten a picture of that. Oh, and student feedback, there we go. Oh, I'm going forward. Student feedback, I do just want to point out that is something that was a goal for us last year that we went ahead and did. We partnered with the Health Education Council. We did a really comprehensive survey with our 3rd through 8th or 6th graders and actually worked with an outside evaluator to put that into a document format for us. And it was really helpful to inform this year's menu. All right, on with the pictures. So we do a lot of roasted chicken. It is very popular. We do all kinds of roasted chicken. We do a lemon thyme. We do a mojo, a Peruvian chicken. And it's just been really fun watching our kindergartners just really just eat it to the bone. We usually, we do a lot of roasted vegetables and different sides, and it's been a really popular dish for us. Red pozole is also just a favorite at all of our sites. And I really just want to point out kind of what's going on here, so you can see in the top there that, we're boiling the ancho chilies. We are using, fresh pork from a local ranch, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But we really are. I mean, we are cooking from scratch for, 400 and 500 kids. You should see these pots. We have pictures of staff the first day we got them actually hiding inside the pots. Like, they are enormous. So it is a tremendous amount of work, and it's just really exciting that we're at the level where we're doing it and we're doing it well. So I want to go back to the pork. This is one that I talk a lot about, but man, I am just so proud of it. So we get this local pork, which is just exciting in and of itself, right? We're working with this local family ranch. And then we have these really amazing combi ovens, they're called. They're new ovens, all kinds of buttons. It's like, you know, what I imagine driving a Ferrari to be, just very confusing and overwhelming. But it's such great technology. So what happens with the pork is it comes in, our staff is actually like trimming down the fat, cutting it into smaller chunks. We have a dry rub, so they're measuring out all these spices, rubbing it. They pour onions and garlic and orange juice into the roasting pan, and then they put it in the oven overnight, and it does this slow cook. So it's like 165 degrees, and they're able to roast it overnight, which is really great because nobody has to be in the kitchen. All of that information is recorded. It's all very safe. And then when they come in, usually around 5:15 a.m. the next morning, it's all ready to go. They pull it out of the oven and they're able to shred it. So it's just really cool. And then from there, we do some carnitas nachos, we do our quesadilla, and then we do some pulled pork sandwiches that we're making our own barbecue sauce with. All right, breakfast. I don't have a ton of breakfast photos, unfortunately, but I did just want to share because breakfast is tough. You know, we're doing breakfast in the classroom, which is hard to do scratch cooking for breakfast in the classroom. You know, we have looked all over this country, it seems, trying to find, you know, even just hot entrees or scratch cooked items, because usually breakfast in the classroom is like a cereal bar and a piece of fruit. But and we do, you know, we do our own packaged items like the pan dulce in the top corner. That is a packaged pre-made item. But we're also working really hard to make our own items. So you'll see the croissant there on the right, and then we have some cinnamon rolls down there in the bottom. So that is a whole grain item that we are actually proofing overnight and then baking off fresh the next day. So we're able to wrap those up and do our best to deliver those to the classroom warm. In that left-hand corner there, this is probably one of our just most tedious and just really hope to get it done and out the door is French toast. And we're really proud of that. It's been a ton of work, but we're happy to be able to offer that in the morning. We do smoothies, and then those are our fresh strawberry parfaits. These are just some random shots we were able to pull together. The orange chicken, you know, that is a pre-made item that students love, but we do our best to pair it with items that we've made ourselves. So we have roasted broccoli that we do. We make our own rice, of course. The pot stickers and fried rice, again, that is another kind of ready-to-go item that we steam, but then the fried rice is something that we make ourselves. We make our own sauce. Chicken noodle soup. That has been really fun this year. Students have really enjoyed that. We make that from scratch. Our stir-fry yakisoba noodle, that is a newer item. Earlier in my slides, I was talking about more culturally relevant items. I was talking about more vegetarian options. So that is one that has been new and students have really enjoyed. Our bean and cheese cup, that is another scratch-made vegetarian item. It's also really great because it's a low-cost item for us. You know, we use dry beans, and then we're actually making our own refried beans. We make our own salsa. And then we just have a really nice salad bar that has a corn and elote salad, and everything else, you know, jalapenos and cheese and peppers. It's beautiful. And then grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Did you say jalapenos?
Oh, jalapenos, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actual
jalapenos, yep. The students really enjoy them. They're the canned jalapenos. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't come on the bowl. It's kind of like you get your bean in cheese cup, and then you go through the salad bar and you add all your own toppings. I don't have many pictures of our salad bars, but this is just an example. So we do, you know, even on pizza day, we're still trying to incorporate some scratch items. So that Caesar salad is something that you see there. So, you know, we make our own dressing. They actually make their own croutons, which is just wild. There is just some other shots of our fresh produce. We have our corn salad, and then those are just some fun kiwi berries that we had recently. All right, so this is just the most important part. This is a ton of work, and it has been,
you know, I have such a great team, and I'll talk about these guys in a minute. But the fact that our staff has stepped up and have been willing to be trained and to do all this is just extraordinary. Like, I cannot tell you, we went from doing a lot of heat and serve items to really just transitioning to more scratch cooking, and it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of mental energy, just scaling recipes and trying to, you know, times 3 teaspoons that the recipe calls for, you know, by 500, it gets crazy. And this team has just really risen to the challenge, and we're just so lucky to have them. So last time I think I spoke with you guys, we were talking about the hub kitchen, and I talked about just how this year we're really feeling like we're at capacity, and that is how we're feeling this year. We are only able to do the scratch items certain days out of the week, and then those other days we're doing the heat and serve items. And that's because every day we are doing things that are related to the scratch meal. So we're not able to make a marinara sauce, you know, saute the beef, do the pasta all in one day, because there's just not enough time for that. So on days when we do have, you know, like we do a Papa Murphy's pizza, they are still, you know, they are creating that marinade for the chicken. They're making that marinara sauce so that we can be ready and have those items on another day. So, so the staff are always busy, always working and creating something that will be used as part of our scratch service. So it's really phenomenal. So a lot of hard work, and we can see that it's working, and that feels really, really good. So I know that, you know, each year that I present, I share these numbers with you, and it's just really exciting that they continue to grow, you know. So we have 72% of our students eating breakfast in the classroom, right? 85% of our students are eating lunch. And, you know, I always imagine like 100 students lined up. 85, and really it's not even 100, because this is our enrollment numbers, not our actual attendance numbers. So if you can imagine, you know, 85 of those 95 students are eating lunch with us every day, and that's really great. So this is my obligatory budget slide, and it is just giving you a snapshot of our projected revenues. As you can see, we have a very large projected ending balance. So currently we are on a spending plan with the state, and that is why we are over budget this year. Is we are going to continue to buy equipment and do things where we can, and that is just by design and part of our plan to kind of draw down those funds as slow as we possibly can. That's kind of our plan, just to hold out with CDE a bit longer. All right, so what is next for Robla's Food and Nutrition Services program? You know, thinking about the budget slide before, we've really been trying to hold on to those funds, and part of holding on to those funds is just trying to wait and see what happens next. Again, I know that we've talked about Hub Kitchen and facilities projects in the past, and Food and Nutrition Services really wants to utilize that money that we have to purchase the equipment for that Hub Kitchen. Our fund does not allow us to do anything with infrastructure. Otherwise, you know, we'd put all of that in, but we are able to buy equipment. So that is really why we're just kind of in this holding pattern specific to the budget. And then, you know, I shared these slides earlier about our participation and just how, oops, I keep doing that. Am I able to get it back? Thank you. So our participation, and I just want to let you guys know, let's see, there we go. These numbers, like, this didn't happen by accident, right? And it wasn't just luck that got us here. Just, I want to express how much time and energy went into really having this vision and wanting to execute this vision, you know, long before our team even got together. I think my colleagues know me as a very adaptable person, but I'm also just a very long-term strategic thinker. And there was a lot of thought that went into creating this team. And I mean, I I said there's no luck, but I really, really, really lucked out with these two. They've been absolutely incredible. And while I have a lot of passion, they have that same crazy look in their eyes when they come to work every day. And we've worked really hard to have a vision and to see it through. And we're just kind of still in that holding pattern, waiting to see what's next. So I just want to talk to the board a little bit about that and just express we're ready. We want to kind of build that next phase of what, the food service program looks like in our district. But right now, we're feeling like we're just kind of stuck in limbo. So I would just want to express that because we're ready. We are ready for the next phase. All right. So that is all I have for you tonight. And if you have any questions.
Any questions or comments?
I have a question. How much of the food is consumed?
How much of the food is consumed? I mean, I don't have any quantifiable figures. That's tough to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. By law, they're required to take half a cup of fruit and vegetables. And our goal is to not to feed our trash cans, right? So we know that students have to take that amount, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that they do. So part of that is doing the student surveys. We put a whole spread together of every single kind of salad bar item and had them rank them. And now we're only serving those. I think before we really got caught up in what was a beautiful salad bar, and now we're just trying to serve the favorites and introduce things here and there. But kids know what they like. So now they're grabbing those items. One of the biggest surprises is these roasted chickpeas. The kids are really enjoying those far more than we ever imagined. Next year, we're going to look at hummus. We talk to kids a lot about what do you want to see? What do you want to see next? So we're excited about hummus. And then the Caesar salad is way, way more popular than we ever imagined. So in terms of what they have to take, we try and make sure that it's something that they want to have. And then in terms of the entree, it's really completely up to them if they want to take that. And as you can see by the participation, like students are wanting to come to the line. They're wanting to eat. We've had hungry kids in Robla for a long time, but I am inspired by these participation numbers because it shows that kids are wanting to come to the lunch line and get the items that we're serving. So I don't know if that helps.
It does. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Just, and the fact that you're really trying to make sure that they're taking and eating it, not wasting it or throwing it away,
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
And anytime we do a menu item, that's what we're looking for. We're sitting down at the tables with the kids, like, what do you think? Tell me about it. What don't you like? What, and they love to talk to us. They know us now, and that feels really good.
Do you find there's a difference in terms of both the participation rate and the consumption between reheated versus scratch, made from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, because, listen, the heat and serve stuff, this is what kids like. I mean, a lot of the times, because it is more of that, packaged, salty. I mean, less so now. We have a lot of requirements. But we thought it was going to be a big shift. And at first it was. At first it was like, what is that? But now I think just through peer pressure, pozole, not every culture knows pozole, but that has quickly become one of our absolute best days. So the fact that we have all of these kids from all different cultures eating pozole is pretty cool. So I think that we're moving in the right direction for sure. In terms of getting kids excited about scratch cooked food. When they see Chef Sergio, they're like, what are you going to cook today? And our staff report that Thursdays and Fridays are their favorite days. So, and then the heat and serve items that we choose, they're not just your standard heat and serve anymore. There is roasted broccoli on the plate. There is the honey glazed carrots in addition to the orange chicken and rice. So, yeah.
I just want to thank you. You know our demographics, the numbers, and just making sure our kids are eating properly is so important. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Having had an opportunity to attend Terrific 10 and enjoy Chef Sergio's cooking, I got to tell you, our kids are blessed.
Yeah,
And if I could just,
Gotta give it up to our staff too. I just,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I love Chef Sergio too, but yeah, you know, we're serving 4,000 meals a day, and that's thanks to our staff.
yeah, you guys do a wonderful job for parent empowerment dinners, but I will say, I do appreciate the terrific 10, you know, and while some items are not eligible to be on the menu, those that might be, you know, I appreciate the opportunities for the students to give feedback, and they do share. They're like, oh, can we see this? And today is it the kiwi bean?
Kiwi berry.
Kiwi berry, yes. I've never heard of a kiwi berry before, but it actually looked like a bean or grape, but it was a kiwi. And so we do get feedback. So I appreciate what you did to get student feedback, but we also do it for Terrific 10. And when I'm at lunch, I always say, oh, what do you think about that? So
yeah, us too. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We do have a public comment.
All right, so Hortensia Castellan, my children absolutely love the meal items made from scratch.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to move on to Comprehensive School Safety Plan 24-25.
Wow, PLSTs, Food and Nutrition Services, am I going to do safety plan? So this is just our required annual update of our district safety plan. Ed Code requires every school with grades K through 12 develop a comprehensive school safety plan, but districts with fewer than 2501 students can have one plan for the entire district. So, I already went that. So this is just a few slides for the updates that we've done for this school year. So let's see. So we've made really great strides in enhancing our emergency response drills. I will say that I'm not sure how many trainings Ramon and Mr. Lopez have provided on Raptor, and it is ongoing. I say this because part of the training, what is now in place is when a school is doing a drill or an accidental 911 is hit, we all get notification on our cell phone, and I'm calling them out, okay, is this a drill? So I really do appreciate all the expanded training, and we will continue to do that. You know, when we're dealing with technology, I know a lot of staff are not comfortable, right? But all the training and the practices have been phenomenal and will continue. We have replacements of our two-way radios. That's the one in the middle, to improve communications. And our sites now have defibrillators on campus. So this slide, you will see we have a plethora of added security cameras, and I really do appreciate that. I know that some might feel it is for watching them, but it really does make individuals feel more safe, because it shows all the campuses and the cameras rotate, right? So we do want families to know that we are monitoring the students and safety is a priority. We have updated our external and internal signages on every campus point. I know that there was a concern regarding visitors, you know, to our campus, and making sure that they are aware what is off limits and what is allowable, right? And so we do have external sites at all our school sites, but we also do have internal. And you can see one of the examples in this office will be outside. You'll say staff only being on this point. So there are similar signs internally in the school systems or school campuses, so visitors know what area that they should be restricted to. And then I love that we have Raptor kiosk, right? So it is easier for our visitors to check in, and we do have that at all the sites and as well as here in the district office. So professional development, I'm going to say, you know, we continue to partner with SCOE, right, with our anti-bullying initiatives as well as intervention strategies. And I just want to thank SCOE. I really appreciate, because we are one of the only districts that SCOE has provided a full-time mental health clinician at each of the schools. A few years ago, it was at 2 sites. Last year, it was at 3.5. And then middle of the year, I think we went all 5 sites. So now we actually have one at all 5 sites. And again, I want to thank SCOE because they are the ones that provide, so that's no cost to the district. So what do we want, or what are we planning to do and continue to do for the 25-26 school year? As I said, districts with 2501 ADA, they have one comprehensive site. So that is what we have. We have one comprehensive site that we expect all the sites to follow. But what we do want to do is have pieces in the site plan towards the end that are specific to individual school sites, right? So for example, we know that the plan for a school like Bell that has a 2-story building and Maine that has a 2-story building will have different needs for that site versus Glenwood and Taylor, because they're all 1 story, right? And so while we will still have one main comprehensive safety plan, we will have a section that is particular to each school site. We will continue with our professional development, staff training on first aid, as well as crisis response protocols. And that's the new word for first aid trauma. We talked about that. So our plan is to roll that out next year. We want to increase monitoring or required drills. Sites are required to do. What is my thing? I know, but what is my thing? Sites are required to do one type of drill each month, whether it's a fire drill, a shelter in place, evacuation drill, or earthquake drill, right? So they are required to do one each month, right? And we are working in our system with our system and processes to ensure that they are done each month, because I know we had a situation where a site completed one August 30th. Well, that's August 30th. You still have to complete one in September, even though it's so close. So we are monitoring to make sure that we are in compliance, by law. So what we also want to work on for next year is the implementation of the volunteer management via Raptor, right? So while we have visitors come in and check in through Raptor, right, the protocol in terms of if you have a volunteer that will attend an overnight trip, like the 6th grade outdoor science environment trips, right? So if it is a parent, we require those parents to have a different background check than just being a visitor through a quick visitor on campus for that day. So Raptor has a feature for that, so we're exploring that to make it easier for our families. And truly, if we have a person who regularly visits a site, right, we want to make sure that they do the complete background check versus the parent that just comes one time. Because if we have a retired teacher that wants to come and provide small group instruction 3 times a week, right? That is not a one-time go through Raptor. That would be something where we would do more extensive background checks, because they would be working with our students on a more regular basis. So they would be providing direct contact to our students on a regular basis. So we want to make sure that we do a more thorough background check. We are working with offsites and partners for site evacuation. Thank you, Ramon. Okay, so he has worked with a church to be the location for Maine, as well as Bell has that is it food distribution center across. So in years past, there were plans where if we had to do a full school evacuation, that they know where to go. So we are reestablishing that. I believe in the past, Glenwood would go to a church that is no longer there. Is that correct? It was a church? Yes. So we will work to make sure that the other 3 sites have a location where they would do evacuation, if they had to do a full evacuation. And again, ongoing staff training with Raptor. I think you had 3 this week with preschool. Great. Oh, a disclaimer. I want to be transparent. While we do have a comprehensive safety plan, and the plan is to have specific site plans, right? Those site plans may not be available to the public. It is important, I'm not going to advertise how our students are going to evacuate to the public, but we will have those in place. But we do want to make sure that it will be part of the plan, but it won't be as public as our regular district comprehensive safety plan. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
I know that our she knows I'm going to ask about this. I know that our active shooter training has been tenuous in the past, but I also know that it's really important. What are our plans for continuing our active shooter training?
So I am aware that the district has participated in ALICE training, and I too participate in ALICE training in my former district. And so we will revisit that. I am aware that the last experience, I would say, has provided some concerns, with what the training provided. So it really is important for me to ensure that we continue with active shooter training, but be mindful of the experiences of what our staffs will be exposed to. So I do recognize that the district did go through ALICE, and so we will explore continuing something similar to that, but being mindful of what they experienced, because I know it did trigger some not favorable experiences.
Thank you. A couple of quick questions. One, I'm assuming that the training regarding the crisis response protocols is going to include estimations for purchases, or at least budgeting for purchases of, obviously, trauma first aid kits to go with that. The other question was, in terms of the consultants or whatnot that we're working with, have any suggested or have we thought about looking into either like a polycarbonate or reinforced glass for at least our windows that are at ground level or that have street access or not necessarily behind a fence or a gate? Because that was one of the things that if you noticed from the Nashville incident, was the person was able to basically they had locked doors, but they were able to basically break through the glass doors. So just was wondering if that was something that we were looking into and seeing what the cost of something like that, providing something like that, might be.
We can absolutely follow up with our vendor. That's a great idea.
Excellent.
To consider.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and move on now to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now we'll go on to action items. Item A, approve out-of-state travel request.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
There are 2 main items on the out-of-state travel. One has to do with our transportation department attending a professional development in Reno, with Reno being Nevada. That is an out-of-state request. And the second one is for President DeLuz and I to attend Coast to Coast, which is an opportunity for advocacy. It is a collaboration with CSBA and AXA, especially in the climate that we have now. We have an opportunity to speak with our policymakers and advocate for our district.
Thank you both.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, elect 2025-27 CSBA Delegate Assembly. On this list, this is basically for CSBA. There are 5 candidates, and we can vote for 5. I can say that I know all of the folks that are listed here. All of them are would be excellent representatives on the delegate assembly. Although this Craig DeLuz guy, he's a little shaky. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item C, approved contract with Lawson SSP Group replacing existing thermostats with new Pelican TC3 and TC1 at preschool.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, this is we have Pelicans in all schools except for preschool, so that will be 16 new thermostats. That will be the whole district wide.
Including this one?
Including so the administration does not have that. Yeah.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, approved professional development contract with Center for Optimal Brain Integration at preschool on preschool age trauma response and resilience building practices.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
This is professional development for our preschool staff for the March 17th PD Day. Ms. Salceda has surveyed the staff, and the staff feel that they need more information regarding how to support our students in their trauma, specific to ages 0 to 5.
That was my question, just to wonder if staff had the opportunity to weigh in on their professional development opportunity.
For this particular one, or
Yeah, for this particular.
Yes. They actually also requested CPI and CPR, which is crisis prevention, intervention, and CPR. And so we're looking to see when she can provide that at our next professional development, probably next year. So, yes. So let me just clarify. This is in response to her staff survey. If this is what they want. So the answer is yes.
All right, any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, approved contract with Hue and Cry and add security alarm protection to the new office classroom building for the preschool.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. Discussion.
Yeah, this is preschool and Bell Avenue are combined, the same system, and now we will, like when there's a crisis, when the responders need to attend, sometimes they need to attend Bell Avenue, sometimes a preschool. This one we will separate it, and we will have two different systems. That's the purpose of this. It's a safety issue.
Okay. Is there any further discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We'll now move on to item F, revised policies and regulations or exhibits.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
This is a follow-up from the first read that we had in January, and there will be more to come.
Okay. Is there any discussion or debate. I'm assuming that any updates we have are required by law.
Yes, that's correct, and they're all driven by the CSBA Gamut website. When I review policies, the things that are suggestions, I don't include in the policies. I use those as opportunities for possibly implementing best practices.
All right. Thank you. I wanted to note that because there are some things that are in the policy that are of a concern to me, but I also know that they are there because they are required by law.
That's correct.
Excellent. Okay. All right. It's been moved in second. Is there any further discussion or debate? Hearing none, we move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Move on to item G, approve increase in 2024-2025 service agreement with Scoot Education for substitute staff.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, so as you can see, this is a bit of a substantial increase. And as you saw in the PLST report, we had 7 long-term substitute teacher assignments this year due to maternity leaves. And we also had assigned through Scoot, I think it was 6 kind of long-term for a period of time, instructional assistant guest assignments as well. And so that increased, right, our costs with Scoot, and we spent approximately the same amount through the end of December. So this should carry us through the end of the year. We also had the opportunity to recruit through their Teach Start program, and that's another method that we'll be able to use for future recruitment. And it's a program that starts the preparation towards an internship. And so we have one of their Teach Starts fellows in a long-term maternity leave assignment at Main Avenue. So I'm excited to explore that as a future recruitment mechanism for Robla.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve increase of 1 4-hour, 10-month classified food service assistant position.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
So this is simply in response to the size of Glenwood School 1 and to the continued support that we have in providing meal service for the New Hope community as well. And we just determined with the food service staff that between those 2 factors and the meals to labor hour ratio, that there's an extra 4-hour position needed at Glenwood School.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item I, approve contract with Bart Roofing Company for roof replacement at Taylor Elementary School, Classroom Wing 2.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, the roofs at Taylor are over 30 years old, and the whole roofs needs to be replaced. But this is part of the deferred maintenance, and we're doing it in some sections. So we went through this process. We would do this work during the summer, so it's the less interaction. But they're very busy during the summer, so we want to come to the board early so we can plan for. Mm-hmm.
Any additional discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve 2024-25 Comprehensive School Safety Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, we'll move forward to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Now we'll move on to board member requests for future agenda items or reports. We'll start off with Trustee Hamilton Starks.
Nothing at this time.
All right, Trustee Barnes.
Nothing at this time.
And I have nothing at this time. So with that, we'll now move on to adjournment. Thank you to everyone who was in attendance this evening, and thank you to everyone who was watching online and commented. We look forward to more of your participation. Folks, take care.